A huge and very unexpected rumor has come in that could drastically change the entire game industry. In a bid to get more exclusive games on the Xbox, Microsoft might be interested in acquiring big third-party game publishers. Citing unnamed sources, Polygon reports that Microsoft has had talks about buying the likes of Electronic Arts, Half-Life maker Valve, and the PUBG Corporation, which owns Battlegrounds. It's unclear how serious these talks are, and Polygon itself says that the idea is astounding and even unthinkable. If Microsoft really is going to buy one or more of these companies, it would have a huge repercussion across the entire game industry for years to come. Their last big acquisition was Minecraft developer Mojang in 2014, but buying EA or Valve would obviously be a much bigger deal. Still, it seems pretty far-fetched, so consider all of this a rumor until further notice. And the way that we're going to do this now is I'm going to go through the news, and we're going to have a nice discussion about it later. So if you've got comments or questions or thoughts on this, write them down, let us know, because we're going to include them at the end of our rundown sequence here. Now, DC and Warner Brothers are going to explore Superman's backstory again. Warner Brothers Television has greenlit a new live-action TV series called Metropolis. It will serve as a prequel to the familiar Superman story, although it's not going as far back as the last prequel series, Smallville, and it doesn't sound like we'll be seeing much of Superman at first. The logline for the show is that it will take place in Metropolis before Clark Kent dons the Superman persona and focus on reporter Lois Lane and the villainous Lex Luthor as the main characters. The show is being produced by John Stevens and Danny Cannon, who also produced the Batman prequel series Gotham. The new Metropolis show won't air on conventional TV, though. Warner Brothers is making it for their upcoming DC-specific streaming service, which is also getting the new live-action Teen Titans series. Metropolis has already been given a first-season order, and it will premiere in 2019. Yet another new Superman prequel series, Krypton, is coming to the Sci-Fi Channel this March. Getting busy in the DC universe. Now, speaking of superheroes, Marvel has released the first good look at their finest new superhero movie, because the first trailer for Ant-Man and The Wasp landed this morning. You know the drill. Paul Rudd plays the size-shifting superhero, and this time around, Evangeline Lilly will join him as his heroic partner, the Wasp. The trailer itself is pretty quick and quickly cut, although it does give us a good look at some of the cool action set pieces and size-altering comedy that audiences will get in the final film. Ant-Man and the Wasp hits theaters this July, making it one of 3 Marvel movies hitting theaters this year, following Black Panther, which we're hearing great things about, and Avengers: Infinity War. It's crazy that we get a Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer before Solo. I don't know what's going on over there at Disney. The Great War is finally coming to an end in Battlefield 1. EA and DICE have announced that the long-awaited 4th and final expansion for the game will deploy next month, known fittingly as Apocalypse. The DLC gives players 5 new multiplayer maps, each based around some of the biggest and most bloody conflicts during the war, including, I don't know how to say this, Blake, Passchendaele, and the Battle of the Somme. Like previous expansions, this one will also feature new vehicles and weapons. DICE says that all of the Apocalypse will be bigger and more over the top than previous expansions. And since this will be the last one, it sounds like this is their way of going out with a bang. Battlefield 1 was first released in late 2016, and since then, DICE has been mired in a bit of controversy surrounding their more recent game, Star Wars Battlefront 2. The next Battlefield game is rumored to be already in the works and will be a 3rd entry in the Bad Company series. We'll let you know if new intel comes in. Now, is that confirmed? Have they confirmed that it's Bad Company 3? Because I just did the Buried Treasure, and I talked that there was speculation.
It's just a rumor at this point.
Just a rumor. Okay. I'm psyched, though. I love Bad Company, as you saw in my my Buried Treasure. Very cool series, so it'd be great if DICE went back to there. But let's talk a little bit about the Xbox maneuvers, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that with our guest today, Steve Tilley, who I'm going to have us join the show in a second here. But I want to get your feedback, your comments. If you've got any messages or comments or questions about your thoughts on Microsoft's moves or Warner Brothers' moves with the DC television franchises that they've got cooking, let's hear them. From my vantage point, I feel like if Microsoft is making any big, massive moves, like with Valve or with Electronic Arts, that's less a play about IP and more a play to start moving in the direction of becoming a true Netflix for games. They're starting to do that already, but if they acquired Origin or Steam, they're pushing into a whole new stratosphere. And it kind of makes sense if you're a huge corporate entity that's got that much market cap and that much money at your disposal. Kind of makes sense that you're thinking along those terms. If they bought EA, of course, they would also have this huge archive of interactive assets, which would help bolster the Xbox One lineup and all of their sort of Xbox gaming initiatives for years to come. It's a crazy idea, but it does make a little bit of sense. It's pretty crazy. Any thoughts on that? Anybody jump in with a comment or anything? I guess you're watching a whole bunch of screens too. Okay, help us out because there are lots of comments, but if you've got one that you want me to talk about. Okay, well, Leighton JT says, get the F out, MSEA, WTF, OMG. So he's using every internet term he can think of to be excited about this. Would you guys be stoked? Do you think that this would be a good move for the video game industry, or would this be catastrophic for the video game industry? Be a very interesting play. As far as a Superman show that doesn't focus on Superman, I kind of phased out on Gotham, and I know I've got some people that are watching right now that I think Fred Wicks is a big fan of the Gotham TV show. He's messaged me a couple times about that show. I like the thoughts around Gotham and the idea around Gotham, and the casting is actually pretty good, but because we don't get to Batman, it feels like they're trying to do everything but show Batman. And they're just like doing a little song and dance and say, well, see, this is how Batman's good. And instead of just like making it really an awesome show and giving us this young Bruce Wayne trying to like fully be Batman, we're sort of half-assed getting there. I feel like, and if Metropolis does this, the answer isn't to just employ a cast that's going to be the same cast year after year, unless you start to put some different kinds of makeup effects on there. But I think it's to jump forward in time with every season, almost create an anthology type of situation where we can move forward. And Gotham would be an incredible show if every year they were like, 5 years into the future or something like that, and we got to see a younger Batman, and then the following season a little bit more mature Batman. It would be the same thing with a Metropolis show. I'll watch it. I want to give it a shot for sure. And wait a second. We have season 4 has done some Batman. Okay, all right. I've heard that they've done some stuff that's edging a lot closer, but I wasn't that fired up on Gotham. I kind of got sort of dulled by it, so I stepped away. But JBJ Blaze and TFA is saying I should go back and check that out. We've got Samian111 saying Microsoft buying EA would be really bad in terms of monopolizing licensed sports titles, even if it does mean MS can revive NFL fever. That's never going to happen, or NHL rivals with EA Sports backing them. They'll never do that. They'll keep that exclusivity license. Here's what happens, I think, if EA makes a play like this, and I'll talk about this with Steve. I'm dying to get his thoughts in here, is that if they do something like this, Microsoft becomes agnostic. They are not necessarily, they are totally moving away from keeping people locked into a platform that they have. They've taken big strides and steps that way already with their Play Anywhere initiative, but if they open that up to a massive catalog that they instantly acquire, that suddenly makes them a publisher across a bunch of different platforms. I believe that Sony's probably thinking along those terms for the future as well. The only one that won't is Nintendo. They're going to definitely sort of stick to their guns and say, this is our category. We're not sort of engaging in a movie division and a television division, and we don't sell PC operating systems. We sell the interactive toy fun stuff that we've always done. And so come to us for that. But Sony and Microsoft, I could see them shifting and partnering, honestly, in some crazy ways that are more about exponential audience engagement than the sort of current platform divisiveness allows for. But it's going to be very interesting. JBJ Blaze also says, I agree with others on the internet that Steam would totally not be acquired by Microsoft, but EA, maybe they could straighten them out. Maybe they could... I wouldn't be surprised for PUBG Corp, though. I don't know if they're going to do PUBG. I mean, I feel like that's almost another kind of Minecraft play. And PUBG is a massive, huge success for sure, but I don't know if every you know, iteration on that every time they update it, every sequel that that game could possibly get is going to keep an audience with it the whole time. I could be totally wrong here. They're clearly finding new ways to monetize Minecraft. Yeah, it's an interesting concept, right? It's crazy. Okay, so I'm all for this DC streaming service. I'm definitely going to check it out. We are going to end up with a DC one, a Disney one, which will have Star Wars and Marvel. Paramount still is trying to sell you their CBS All Access so you can get Star Trek. It's basically if you like a show or a cool sort of geeky category, you're going to have to get a new streaming account. And Netflix is just going to have to sit down and watch all of these famous, you know, intellectual properties sort of pop up with their new ways to you know, tap into your wallet. You can't blame these companies. I mean, that's the way that it is. It's you know, all you can eat buffet of you like Marvel? We got Marvel for you. You like DC? We got DC for you. It makes a lot of sense. I think that there's probably a lot of turmoil happening on license fees and per episode, you know, deals in the traditional television market. So this totally makes sense. I am psyched. So I'm definitely going to do that. What time are we looking at here? I think we're going to start thinking about getting Steve Tilley in. You know what? Let's do that. But first, let's run this day in Everything Cool.